Hey everyone, welcome back to the Improv TX Comedy Network. If this is your first time checking out the podcast network, we appreciate it. Please head over to your favorite podcast app, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, or iTunes, and give the Improv TX Comedy Network a like. And just a reminder, the Improv TX Comedy Network is live on YouTube with all your favorite comedians on the improv stage. All links can be found in the description. And with that, on to the podcast. Hey everybody, welcome to the Act Out. From open mic to the big stage, comedians tell us how stories were made. Today I have a very special guest. This guy is so prolific. He does so much stuff, starting with acting, moving to poetry, then comedy, then production, and then just TV, everything. You've done everything. So
that sounds about right. Yeah. You did your homework.
Yeah, dude. I'm telling you, it's crazy. So we are here with comedian Q. How are you, sir?
Man, I'm blessed. How you doing, dude?
I'm excellent. I'm so happy for you to be here because I know you've got stories, and that's what it's all about, dude. Like your journey has been absolutely insane, and that's what we want to kind of talk about. How long have you been doing comedy now?
Comedy stand-up now about 15 years now. Going on 16. Years? This might be year 16, yeah.
Congratulations. That's awesome. Yeah. First of all, where are you from?
I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois.
Okay.
Downtown. Yeah. Moved to Texas a year after high school. Well, actually, I take that back. I came down here for my freshman year of high school. My dad lived here. He's like, come on down to Texas, check it out. I was like, all right. We came down here, me and my brother, and didn't like it at all, man. We went to, it was so different, man, from the south side of Chicago. I left the south side of Chicago and moved to a city called Seagoville, Texas. Country, just, horses, cows.
Oh, man.
Totally different from what I grew up in. We did it for a year, and I was like, nah, I need to go back home. Went back home. And then it wasn't nothing else for me to do there. I couldn't get a job. It was just, it was just crazy. So we came back, and I've been here ever since.
Very nice.
Since a year after high school.
So how long have you been here? 20-something years?
28 years. This is my 29th year.
Wow.
If I do the math, yeah. I think it's about 29 years. Yeah. So I've been here longer than I was in Chicago, actually.
So what were you like as a kid? Were you the funny kid? Were you?
No, that's crazy, dude. I was never, because we were too broke for me to bring any extra attention onto me. It was nothing like that. I was real shy, real mellow, kind of quiet, but never was the funny kid. And I talk about that often because I don't know how I got into this comedy thing, but I guess it came and found me, man. I don't know, man. I never was. My brother and my cousins, they were a lot funnier, but it just, I don't know. I don't know where it came from, dude.
That's so weird because when you watch you have so much energy. First of all, you're hilarious, okay?
Thanks, man.
Your jokes are killer. Like, down the line, when you watch anything you've done, and I've seen you perform in person, too.
Okay.
Like, your energy in the room. You own the room unlike any comedian I've really ever seen. It's insane. Yeah. And you walk on stage and your comfort level of your personality is just through the roof. And
wow, thank you,
it's crazy, but I've seen you just destroy rooms. Like people just falling out of chairs, dying, laughing.
It's the best feeling, as you know, as a comic, man, when you get up here. I'm always like hella nervous, like that
really?
Walk. Oh, yeah. That walk to the stage is like, okay, all right, it's just kind of zoning in, and I'm good after I get the first laugh. Once I get the first laugh, then I kind of just like, all right, let's go. I mean, they can hear me. I'm resonating with the crowd a little bit, and then it gives me confidence to even, the crowd work or anything like that. Once I get that first laugh, I'm comfortable.
And that's when you feel like you finally, that's your room, that's your audience.
Yeah, when I get it, because it's been, times when you get up here and, especially if you're trying new stuff, if it's not hidden, dang, let me pull something out the bag real quick, get my confidence up, and then I can, maybe get better at trying to do stuff. But yeah, once I get that first one, then it's on and pop.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So who were your comedic influences? What was the first person you saw do comedy?
Oh, man. Believe it or not, Johnny Carson.
Yeah?
Johnny Carson. When I was a kid, I used to watch the Johnny Carson show, Night Court, just like a lot of sitcoms. I'm telling my age right now. Benny Hill. No. But Johnny Carson, I used to love watching Johnny Carson, and he seemed so off the cuff, the Swami and all that stuff. So I was like, man, it seems like a cool job just to make folks laugh. So I was like, okay, and I was young. I probably was a freshman in high school when, if I think about it, and never pursued comedy or nothing like that until I came to Texas later on. So,
yeah. Well, how old were you when you decided to do comedy?
15 months. My daughter was my daughter's 25. So probably about 20, I'm 48, probably about 25, 26, something like that. It was 25 plus 15.
That's a good age to start, though, because, you're not too old. Like, I was 36 when I started, you know what I mean? I'm in that weird phase where I'm like, I'm a little bit too old. When you're 25, you're still experiencing life for the first time.
True.
So that's a great age.
Well, I write. My jokes come from life, so I think starting at 36 probably would have been better for me because I would have lived a little bit more, But up until that point is what I usually try to dabble in is what my material comes from, what I experience, and of course, what we see if comics were observance. But I usually like to write the truth in my life and try to make it funny.
Right.
Yeah.
So what was it like that first time you stepped on stage? Did you have to get drunk beforehand, or were you sober, or were you afraid?
I was nervous. I didn't get drunk. I was doing poetry. So you mentioned I had to do some poetry stuff. I was doing poetry. I was a bad poet. I was, doing my thing. And they used to always let me go towards the end, make sure that the show, a lot of the stronger poets, they leave for the end to make sure people stay and hear their favorite poet. So I was in that rotation of going toward the end. One night, I was like, I'm going to do some comedy. So the host, I reached out to him and said, when I got there, I said, hey, man, I want to go last so I can do some jokes. I was like, all right, because not all, but most of my poems, I would have funny anecdotes and stuff in it. So I was known to be something silly, somewhat silly on stage. And I did like 7 minutes of comedy on stage, which is long. Yeah. But I think I wrote I probably had about 3 to 5 minutes, and I ended up doing about 7 minutes. And I was like, yo, this is it. Thank you, poetry. It's been nice. But that response that I got telling the jokes, and it was a little easy because they knew me, but it still went well but they never known me to do comedy. So it really built my confidence up to try to get in the comedy scene here in Dallas.
So where was that first place you did it?
This is in Arlington at a club off of 360.
I can't think of the name of it either.
It's blowing my mind right now. But if it comes to me, I'll blurt it out. But okay. It was in Arlington. Yeah, off of 360, and it was an open mic poetry night, but they let me, do a little comedy, man. It was on from there.
Was it like a shooting star from that point? You just comedy, open mic, or did you?
I still did poetry. It was crazy. So I tried to get into the comedy scene. I knew a lot of the comics that was coming up or that was popping at the time. Some of the shows would have poetry and comedy, so I would, be on some of those shows. So that's how I got to know a lot of them guys. And so I started going to the shows and like, I'm doing comedy. And they was like, all right, coming next to the stage is Poet Q. Like, dude, I told you I'm doing comedy tonight, man. Why y'all hating on me, man? So, but in hindsight, it made me respect the craft because I was just coming up saying I'm a comedian, and the comics was like, nah, you got to kind of put your work in. So we're gonna still identify you as a poet until you put your, get your time in. So they kind of it was like on my butt about before they would call me a comedian because they knew me as a poet for so long. But it probably took about a year before I got some of the guys the ladies respect about being a comic. And I was like, all right, Q, you serious about it? Come on. Yeah. You're a comedian Q now. So comedian
Q, and your name, you said everyone called you Quincy.
They would call me Quincy. It's Quentin. My government name is Quentin. And I would say, they would say, what's your name? I would say, my name is Quentin. Hey, Quincy. I'm like, just call me Q because you're gonna butcher my name, which is so easy. But
it works so well though. Like comedian Q, it just has that
rolls off the tongue. Yeah,
it's rolls great. Off the tongue. It's great. So what was the first time you headlined like?
Oh, man. I headlined probably way before I should have.
Yeah?
Hell yeah. But I got a call from a buddy. I was somewhere in Dallas, and it was, when I first headlined, it was out of town. It was at the Funny Bone in Shreveport. They used to have a Funny Bone out there right on the boardwalk. And a buddy of mine, Special K, called me and said, hey, Q, man, somebody canceled or whatever. I told him about you. And I probably had about a good 25 minutes. But this is an hour set. He said, Q, man, all you got to do is go up there, do your crowd work, put your jokes in, and you'll be all right. I'm like, dude, an hour? And it was the next day. It was the very next day, and they paid more than I ever got paid. It's a weekend. Like a club's going to see me. So I called my job and said, hey, I'm not going to be at work the next day. I made up something. I'm sick or whatever, and drove to Shreveport. And and I remember.
I must take on that. That was awesome. Sorry, so you drove to Shreveport.
I just drove to Shreveport. And they gave me a room and everything. And I just remember recording my set and listening to it all the way there and just trying to memorize it. Because I was like, I never stood on stage that long without looking at a piece of paper. So I just memorized my set all the way there, and I did pretty good. I was able to come back, so I guess I did good enough. But
And you did an hour?
I did an hour. I did like an hour and some change the first time.
Wow.
And I don't know if it was, well, of course it was it had to be a lot of crowd work, or maybe some jokes I had written down and some premises. They weren't even jokes yet. It was just premises. And it hit, and it carried me through the show. It had a good feature. I think it's when I met comedian Hot Topic when I went down there.
Hot Topic's the best.
Yeah, when I met Hot Topic down there. Yeah. And did a whole weekend down there, dude. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. You did Thursday through Sunday?
I did, it might have been a Friday through Sunday. I don't know if it was a Thursday, because I probably would have got fired if I took that many days off. I think it was a Friday, 2 shows on Friday, 2 shows on Saturday, 1 on Sunday.
Wow.
Something like that.
And how many years in were you?
Less than 2 years.
Oh, wow.
Easily less than 2 years.
So impressive.
Easy less than 2 years. I don't know how I got to that, but it gave me so much confidence, dude. I was like, oh, man, I really want to do this. And I really want to, like, full time. I think it probably hit me. Like, okay, you can probably do this full time if you can pull that off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So when did you kind of go into the production aspect of it, putting on shows and stuff like that?
Shortly after, leaving, transitioning from poetry to comedy, I would, was trying to get on shows, and I just got frustrated, and I probably was moving faster than I thought I should, but I was like, okay, I need to be on some shows, and nobody put me on those shows, but I was known for promoting my poetry, so I'm like, well, let me just go get a room and promote a comedy show.
Right.
So that's what I did. I just took, the same grind I did with poetry and was like, okay, hey, I'm trying to shine some comedy tonight. Now, y'all come out. And I got a room, probably hold about 50 to 75 people, and stayed consistent on that. And just filled and built up. And that's when I started this comedy series called the We Got Next Comedy Series. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do my own series. And I know other comics that have the same frustrations, like I can't get on stage, I can't get, in front of a good audience. So I was able to build my audience up before I really had, a good solid hour, 2 hours of comedy yet.
Wow.
But I was, at the same time, I was helping out other comics as well.
Yeah.
So
I know Alfred on the A to Z podcast was talking about that, how you got him on the show. Yeah. As like a host and then a feature and then headlining. When he was talking about it, I was like so impressed because it does take a lot of work to put on a production.
Yeah, no doubt.
And so I knew that that's something that you kind of did.
I have a promotion company where I produce events here in Dallas as well. So outside of comedy, we produce poetry events still. Got an event called Finger Snaps and Laugh Tracks where I still combine comedy and poetry. So poets, comic going back to back. Real fun. The poets normally do some funny stuff as well. So it's like really like a comedy show with poetry in it.
Oh, that's awesome.
I have a company called Quality Events Dallas. So we do events in the colony. This thing called Neo Soul Sundays where we book bands and DJs and just little grown folks hanging out, kind of party stuff.
And it's thousands of people that show up, right?
Oh, for that Sunday event, yeah, we average about 1,200 people.
Oh, my God.
During the summer, about 1,200 a week, yeah.
Wow.
During the summer, yeah. We probably had about 1,200 this past weekend because it was nice.
Wow.
So the place is huge. So it's just, that's been a blessing. Now that's my side job to comedy. So it's pretty dope. And I still get to get in front of a lot of people and, mention all the stuff that I do outside of the party stuff, so kind of cross-promote everything.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And you ended up on TV, too. You were on reality TV for a
couple reality shows
with you and your wife.
Yeah.
So how cool was that? Like, what was it like?
That was pretty cool, man. We did this one, she did, the first one she did was called Ladies Night, and it was her, Salt-N-Pepa, my wife is Spinderella, Salt-N-Pepa and Spinderella, and SWV, which is the R&B singing group. And it was just going through their emotions of producing the show out in Vegas for them, and SWV was on tour, and they was linking up. So it was just a little stuff like that. So I was pretty much a fly on the wall for the most part, but then they had some scenes with me and her when we had a place in Vegas. And just, it was pretty cool. Just, I'm big on production, so probably most of the stuff, they probably cut me out because I was doing this. Like, so that's how you do that. You rig it up like that. Okay, I'm going to do that, taking notes, but it was cool. And then later on, we got a call to do a reality show on Oprah Winfrey Network.
They're nuts. That's crazy.
Yeah. Love Goals with like 5 other couples and stuff like that. Rest in peace to my man Coolio. Coolio was on the show with his lady, Benzino, and the folks are familiar with Benzino's Source Magazine, football player, my man Bo, and a couple other couples, Sonny and them. So it was that was a real cool situation. I don't even watch reality shows, so it's really not my thing. It's be too catty and negative, but it turned out to be really good. And this young lady by the name of Spirit, who was a therapist, kind of like worked us through a lot of relationship stuff and personal stuff. So it turned out pretty cool, man. to be on Oprah Winfrey Network in front of millions, that's kind of a little flex for you.
Yeah, absolutely nuts. So like I was reading through like all your stuff, and I'm just like, this guy has done everything. It's like it's been an adventure.
It's been a pretty good run, man. I'm blessed, dude. I can't complain about anything, dude, because I've got to do a lot of stuff that I never thought I would do. So if it stopped right now, I'll be so happy. But
is it luck that these things happen, or hard work? Or I always say luck is when hard work and time finally meet.
It's got to be a combination of all of that, yeah. And then everything, I'm real spiritual. I'm not necessarily a Christian or anything, but I'm very spiritual. I just believe that, when you sow seeds, when you be a blessing to others, then, you'll get some blessings coming back your way. Treat people right and have a good word. And what's for you is for you, dude. I mean, if I manifest that I want to be a club owner one day, I just got to manifest that, and it's going to come to me if I do X, Y, and Z. It's just preparation. I mean,
that's a plan of yours too, right?
It is. I definitely want to own me a club here in the Metroplex one day. Like I said, it's preparation. Now, this whole time I've been doing comedy, all I've been doing is meeting comics. So when it's time, I'll be able to book a calendar year with phone calls. Hey, I got a club, and we met back in the woo-woo. Come feature for me, come headline, come open, come host. Phone calls. So those relationships, which I'm building now, is going to lead up to when I ever get my brick and mortar. I get on the phone in 2 days, I can probably have that place booked.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? 6 months easy. So
I mean, even you could just headline the place. It would be fine.
I could, but that's when I'm gonna chill. I'm gonna have to be, watching in the back and running the place, which is what I'm learning on that side of the game now. But that's why I'll always be around comedy, because I'm like, okay, I feel like going up and telling some jokes. It's my club. Let's go up and tell some jokes.
Absolutely.
Like, right? Yeah, absolutely. And then giving the room and opportunity to other comics that want to host and produce shows as well. So in the long run, that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be a comedy club, but it's gonna be to where you've got to put a show together. Come on out here, and you can drop a show or whoever. Well, just continue to bring the fun into another spot here in the local Metroplex.
Right. And my big thing right now is I want to do video production where we actually film shows and film like 10 to 20 minute sets for people. You know what I mean? That's something you could do with air. Yeah. That would be awesome.
Absolutely. Yep. I've done a couple of those DVDs and stuff back in the day. Like I produced Alfred stuff, but there's a brother by the name of Cecil Chambers that did a DVD called Cutting It Up Dallas that went into like Redbox and Walmart. It was pretty dope. And he's like a mentor of mine right now. So he's kind of like getting me in line to where I do want to produce some stuff to get on to Amazon Prime or your Tubies or whatever, Netflix or whatnot. Yeah. All that behind the scenes stuff, that's like my next move because I like the production part of it.
Oh, yeah. Production's so much fun. Yeah. Video editing and just doing all this stuff it's a dream come true.
Hey everyone, it's just Stuck jumping in to say thank you so much for checking out the podcast today. If you dig it, please head over to our website at improvtx.com, where you can check out our calendar for all the upcoming shows in Addison, Arlington, Houston, and San Antonio. And don't forget to follow our social media, all links in the description. And with that, back to the podcast.
What is your writing style like? How do you come upon your material? And do you write it out longhand or just keep it in your head and work it out?
Definitely write it out. As far as getting the material is, like I mentioned before, it's just experience and stuff. I don't know if you do this, but as a comic, if I see something, my mind is always working to find out the funny in it. So if I talk it out, if I'm with my wife, which I'm with most of the time, I'll say something. She's like, ooh, that's funny. You might need to write that down. So that's pretty cool that she's kind of like on board with my comedy thoughts, because some of the stuff is probably not funny to the regular person, but she kind of got like, okay, you thinking comedic wise, so write that down. Mm-hmm. So I just get a premise, I write it down, or if I'm on my phone most of the time, I put it in my phone and then just think on it for a little bit. But I have to have my phone like on my nightstand, because sometimes it comes to me at 3 o'clock in the morning. And if I don't get up and write it down, I'm not going to remember what the hell I was thinking about. So
it happens all the time. Yeah.
What are you doing? What are you doing? I got to write this down. Hold on one second. Get it down, and then hopefully I can understand what the hell I was thinking when I wake up in the morning. But
that's so cool that she's supportive and also power couple almost, where you're working together to like make things better.
It really helps when your mate gets what you're doing in this entertainment business, man. It could be crazy, like the last minute call coming to Shreveport, or you got to be up late night waiting last to go into the open mic. Like if your mate not understanding that, then it's probably not going to work. I think it helps that she's in the entertainment business as well, so that kind of makes it a little bit easier.
I mean, she's been in the entertainment business for 30-something?
30-some years, yeah.
Did she win a Grammy?
She got a couple Grammys.
That's insane.
Lifetime Grammy and a Grammy with the girls. Yeah.
That's so
cool.
Moon,
man. Yeah, I go in there and dust off all the stuff. That's my job, to go in there and just clean up all the trophies. She let me put my little MVP celebrity basketball trophy right next to the Grammy. I'm like, you watch it.
Did you play basketball?
No. I just played in a couple celebrity games. I was a little squirt when I was in high school, so I couldn't.
Is there video online of you playing basketball? I think there was.
It may be. Yeah. I don't know. I'm like I said, I've done a couple of celebrity games, and we've done some charity stuff with basketball, but I never played like organized or anything like that. I was a little older with my friends in Mesquite. We had a couple of leagues we played in, but none. I'm gonna give you a good 5 fouls, 5 points. I'll go get the Gatorade, and shit.
So what's the weirdest thing you ever saw at a comedy show, whether it be on stage or just something that was wild?
Weirdest thing.
I know I love this question because it always stumps everyone.
Man, well, all right, so my man D. Ellis, when I was, again, about a year or so into the game, he had a room in Killeen, Texas. And he just grabbed me. He just kind of took me under his wing. He was like, hey, Q, man, I like you. I want you to come and you open for everybody we do it. Did it once a month. And I got to open once a month on the road, again, about a year into the game, earlier than I should have. And so I go down there and we doing shows. So this one show, I don't know if you know familiar with D. Ellis, man, this dude is a nut. And he don't mind talking about nobody. Crowd work wise, I don't think nobody's better in the game in crowd work than this dude right here. And so he's messing with this guy in the crowd, this older gentleman. And we're on this stage in Killeen, this spot called Secrets. And the stage is probably about 6 feet in the air.
Oh, wow.
Big stage. You got to walk up about 7, 8 steps to get to the stage. And D is laying into this dude in the front row so bad. And it's an elderly guy. This guy has a cane. And he's talking about him so bad, the dude got up and started walking towards the stage. And he would have got there, but them 7 steps was kicking his so he got up about halfway. He was like, why I oughta, shaking his stick at him, and then went back and sat down. Probably had a defibrillator in the back for him. That dude, old man, couldn't make it up the stairs. But had it been these 3 steps right here in the improv, he probably got D.
Was he roasting him the whole way up the stairs?
He probably was, yeah. If I remember right, I'm sure he's like, man, if you come on up here, something gonna get you down.
Well, that's kind of like that. You're really good at crowd work. Like,
I try to be, man. Yeah, you got to be ready to get it off the cuff. You know what I'm saying? Because you never know what happened. My thing be, I might get so far into the crowd work, I'm like, okay, where the hell was I in my set? And then somebody like, you was talking about your baby mama. I'm like, yeah, that's right. So to be able to, bounce back and forth with the crowd, I think that's something I think the poetry's part has helped me. Because in poetry, if you're doing a real nice line, you hit them with somebody honest be like, rewind. And then you have to go back and because they liked it so much, they want to hear it again. Oh, wow. So you have to throw yourself back into the, get out of character, then go back and they're like, oh, okay, that was dope. So I think that's where some of that comes in with the back and forth with the audience. Yeah.
So were you afraid of audience or crowd work whenever you first began, or was it, you're saying you were pretty much a natural at it?
Well, it kind of comes down. I think it's just when I'm comfortable. If I'm comfortable up there and, being so observant, I'm already looking at these front, 2-3 tables deep. What, if somebody messed with me or something like that, I got something for you already. So I'm already loading my pocket when it's in there. Or if it's something obvious where it's a guy with 2 nice ladies, I got to talk to y'all. What y'all doing here? You got these 2 ladies, you a pimp or something? Woo, woo, that gets everybody around them. You just observing, just looking at the crowd and just kind of, picking at stuff when you can do it in between your set, especially if you can make it mesh with your set. Like if I have a pimp joke, I'm going to start with them and then go into my set to where it seems a little seamless.
Oh, that's
so
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Thank you for the insight because I never even thought about that being, first of all, kind of preloaded with stuff, knowing that you're going to go out there, but mixing it with your set, that's genius.
Yeah. It makes it blend, especially if you're going, as a feature and you have an opener and a host that went up to you, they already touching on some things, so then, your mind is already working in the back anyway, so I'll try to add it. Especially if it's a joke I have, I'll say I'm going to put that in there and I'm going to mess with that person right there and get them. And I don't do this. Like if you mess with somebody in the crowd, don't do it to put them against you. You do it to where at the end of the show, they like, man, can I buy a shirt? Can I buy a DVD or whatever? You put them on your team. Some comics can get up there and just be like, gross, and just tear them up to where they're not having a good time and they don't want to laugh no more. No, I'm going to mess with you so much, you're going to be like, all right, Q, I got to come to your next show. What's up?
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And there are certain comedians who break the rule and they talk to the staff.
Like, leave the staff alone. That's one of the earliest things you're supposed to know as a comic, man. Let the staff, they serving the people coming to watch you, leave them alone.
Leave them alone. Don't bug them. Do you ever get starstruck?
Hell yeah.
Yeah?
yes, dude. Just recently.
Yeah?
Just recently, I took my wife to Vegas to see Usher. She's a big Usher fan, so I bought some nice tickets to go see Usher.
I saw the pictures online.
Yeah. Usher, man, dude. Great show. You didn't get a chance. I'm an Usher fan. I didn't know how big of a fan I was. I knew every song, so it was a dope concert. It was amazing.
7 o'clock.
Yeah.
My drop. Oh, trust me, I love Usher.
Yes. So we went to the show, and her buddy, who's a DJ for the show, I think he upgraded our tickets, man, because I bought tickets. Like this, we're looking at the stage right here. My tickets was like right over there. Our tickets end up being right here in the front, like 2 rows back, dead center. So Usher's doing this thing. Oh, then he was like, "Yo, come to the after party." I'm like, "Oh, fuck, we're gonna go to the after party." Go to the after party, and Usher runs right up to my wife, and they're talking, and I'm talking to, I think DJ D Nice was there, and I'm talking to him. I got a picture with him. Estelle, the singer, was there, and chopping it up. And so her and Usher are talking, and I'm done talking to them, so I was just sitting by myself, just waiting. Just waiting on my wife to introduce me. And she finally introduced me. I was like, "Oh, Usher, man, I'm a huge fan, man. It's nice to meet you." He was super cool. I was like, "Damn, I should have brought my daughter. She would have loved this too." But yeah, that, and then Queen Latifah. I had to meet Queen Latifah. And I didn't really get to meet her because she was like to the side. And I was like, "Babe, I want to meet Queen Latifah." I'm just looking at her. I'm just a big fan of Queen Latifah. And she was busy talking, but I didn't get to meet her. But she was just like right there. And I was just like, "Queen Latifah." Hi. Like, "Hi, I'm with her. I'm with her. I'm messing up anybody back here." But yeah, that kind of tripped me out. And meeting Kevin Hart, I wasn't starstruck, but he's like one of my favorite comics. Mm-hmm. And to see how cool he was, I was like, "Damn, hell yeah. If I ever get super big like that, you gotta, if you can be personable like that at that level, I think that says a lot about you as a person." So I thought that was pretty cool.
What advice would you have for up-and-coming comedians like myself, people who are just getting started?
Get on stage. Like they told me, say, "Q, man, if you want to do this, man, just keep getting on stage and writing," of course. I ran into people to say they don't write, they just freestyle. I think that's amazing if you can do that and be successful at it, but I personally have to write. So I would say write and then jump on stage as much as you can. I say this all the time. I don't know how many comics do it, but poetry rooms that have open mics are some of the best crowds to go work because they come and listen. They're not a heckling crowd. They'll sit there and just hear your jokes and hear your premises and listen, and then they'll laugh because everybody loves to laugh. But sometimes you go to open mics, people are talking, and it's nothing but a bunch of comics on the list and not too many people in the crowd. I don't like those type of rooms, so I try to go find me like a nice open mic mixed with music, comedy, poetry.
So it's an experience almost.
Yeah. And you can enjoy the show as well. Like I've been to some open mics where all the comics are outside smoking squares and waiting until they get on stage, and you have nobody to work out in front of but comics. If they're in there, I like working out in front of real audiences. So that would be my experience. That's what I would say. Go jump out on some open mics. And of course, just write. Just keep writing because you can't do nothing but get better.
Oh yeah, I love that because
can't do get better.
That's the one thing that's a bummer about open mics is there's no audience.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
right.
I love that.
Something to bounce off of. And I think once you get to a point where you can start hosting, host as much as you can because hosting works on your crowd. You get to work on your crowd work and you get to work on your bits at the same time. So if your hosting give you 7 minutes, well, you can do 5 minutes of new material every time you host, and then some crowd work. Like it made me stronger. Like when I started my series, We Got Next, hosting, I was writing out, trying stuff every month. Every month I probably had 12 minutes of new stuff that I was going to try out. And it worked for the most part because they was used to me trying out stuff or used to me being there at least. And I got to do my crowd work as well. That's how I got stronger hosting.
So, Are you travel internationally?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, do you go
a little bit
across the,
Well, right before COVID, we was doing cruises like 3 times a year. My wife took me on a cruise once. It was her and Keith Sweat was the headliners on the cruise, and they had an open mic on the boat. And I was like, "Yo, I'm getting on this open mic." Got on open mic, killed it. It was a lot of folks that was on the mic. Open mic was just people. I was the only professional comic. What I didn't know is that it was a contest, and the contest was if you win, you get a free cruise.
What?
Yeah, I didn't know this. I just went up there and just trying to make these folks laugh. They ain't never seen me before, so I'm going to go kill it. So I did like a 15-minute set, went well, and they was like, "Okay, who the winner?" And then they was like, "No," because they was like, he's cute, he's a comedian, that's Spinderella's boyfriend or whatever. They was like, "No, he's a professional, he can't be in it." So the dude I was like, I ain't know it was a contest. So dude ended up giving away 2 cruises. He gave me one for winning, and then whoever came in second, he gave her, she was a singer, she sang something, did good. And so gave us both a cruise. The next cruise, I was like, "Dude, you ever think about, putting like a real comedy show together? Because I know a lot of comics do. And we had a handshake situation. Like, I bet the very next cruise, I got to bring 3 comics, and we had a whole comedy show on the boat, and it was awesome. I've been able to do for 5 years. I did about 15 cruises 1, 2, 3 times 5. Yeah, 15 cruises in like 5 years.
Wow.
Until COVID came. So we're going back on our next cruise. And we've been all over. We've been to, of course, the Bahamas, St. Thomas, St. Martin, Cuba. Got to go to Cuba, Haiti, all kind of places, man, and tell jokes on these boats, man, on these ships. And so we're doing our next one in February. I'm taking like Shed G, Mario Torre, and this guy named Tez Brooks out of Florida.
Yeah, I only know Shed, but Shed is awesome.
Yeah, that's why we were just playing golf together.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's so good. I can't.
He's
wait
done a lot of stuff. Oh, no, that's gonna be a hell of an interview. That brother has done a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's
for real.
awesome. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to be?
Next 5 years, I definitely want to be a venue owner. I want to have my own comedy club. Hopefully, right before that, in the next 2 to 3 years, I would like to be able to at least be featuring for someone on the road. It's something I've never done, is hit the road like hard and featured in different clubs, just to get into more clubs and learn that part of the business as well, as far as being a feature. So that too. But by the end of year 5, I definitely want to be a venue owner, an up and running venue owner.
Yeah, here in the DFW, like you said.
Yeah. I know we got a lot of clubs here, but I found a spot where we need one.
Bring more in. Like, here's my thing. Like, right now, the open mic scene in DFW is amazing.
Yeah.
There's so many small venues, bars, places like that. Whether it be here, whether it be competition, who cares? Like, the more, the merrier.
Yeah, this is a great market for comedy, man. Comics be hitting us up. I'm moving to Dallas. I said, watch, man, y'all got about 5 comedy clubs. I said, yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We had at one point like 7, I think. It's a good comedy scene out here, dude.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where if you want to work out your material, you have plenty of opportunities.
You got opportunities. You got no excuses, for real. Man, I just noted on Sunday, January 22nd, I'll be at the Addison Improv telling jokes with some of my good friends, man. I got Ping Dang on the show, man. Last year I met Ping Dang. I've been to Ralph. But Ping, Ralph Barbosa, and Trey Mack were my favorite comics last year. Like, every time I saw them guys, they were hilarious, professional. I was like, I got to work with them guys a little bit more. So I reached out to Ping. He said he's down. I got a buddy of mine that does shows out in Newport News named Derek Brooks. He has his own room out there, so I'm going to bring him here. He's never been on the improv stage out here, so he's like, all right, I'm coming. And then Crystal Powell, who's amazing young lady out in L.A. We've done a couple shows. She's been on a cruise with me as well on NBC. She has like a hell of a track record and resume. She'll be headlining that show, man. So January 22nd at the Addison Improv.
7 p.m., right?
7 p.m. That's
7
right.
p.m.,
Q and Friends. I think is what it's called. But I'm a host line it. So I'm going to go up and host and do about 25 minutes. And then I'm going to bring up the guys and the girls to close it out.
And I
So
guarantee it's going to be an amazing show.
Oh, it's gonna be dope.
Like your energy, like go watch some of Q's videos online. Like, you will be blown away just by stage presence, energy. The comedy is hilarious. Like, down the line, like, I honestly think you're one of the best comedians in DFW.
Oh, man.
down.
Thank you, dude.
So,
I appreciate that.
And to know that you're going international and like getting, because I know you travel quite a bit, don't you?
I do. I try to get out of town as much as possible. Much as possible. When I started doing this full time, I told myself I'll save up some bread, and sometimes I just try to go find a cheap flight. And I got a hotel's connection or whatever, a cheap room, and just go do an open mic in Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
Or down in Houston or whatever, just to get out. But it took me a long time, 15 years, to be able to put myself in a position to do that. But if they're not calling me, I'm going to go to them. So I did that for the last couple of years. So I think I'm going to do it a little bit this year. But right now, my lady, we producing a comedy series for her called Spinderella Comedy Jam. So by being able to produce that, whenever it gets picked up, then I get to get on that as well. So
what is that show going to be?
She was touring with Shaq All-Star Tour, so she loves comedy. When we met, she had just finished that, and then she started DJing for me for my birthday, and we've been cool ever since. But Spinderella Comedy Jam is her picking some of her favorite comics, local or the bigger names, and then she does a DJ set as well. So it's like a comedy show and an after party type of thing. So once the comedy show's over with, we got another hour with her just spinning on the DJ on the tables, entertaining before folks head to the house. So
where's that going to be on?
We've done it at TK's a couple times. It's just something that we book. We just put our EPK out and fillers out, and her agent and stuff like that pushes it. So we're looking to do it maybe in New York soon, Chicago.
I would love to see you take that on tour. That would be amazing.
That's the plan. Yeah, that's the plan, just to get it going. So we just left Albuquerque, New Mexico, and met somebody that might want to bring it back down there. So we're constantly working, trying to get rooms. So anybody listening that wants to book Spinderella Comedy Jam, holla at your boy.
Well, Q, I really appreciate you being on the show today.
Man, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. I appreciate you, man. Thanks a lot, dude. This is dope.
Thank you. And for everyone out there listening, please support local comedy in any way, shape, or form that you can. With that said, We'll see you in the next one.
And there it is. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast today. If you enjoyed it, please head over to improvtx.com to check out all our upcoming shows at the Addison, Arlington, Houston, and San Antonio clubs. If you like this podcast, you might enjoy the other podcasts on the Improv TX Comedy Network. We have The Act Out. From open mics to the big stage, comedians tell us the story they've made, where I talk to comedians from all over and chat about their journey this far. Also, check out the Black Dog Retro Arcade podcast. Straight from the arcade, we talk about how our favorite games were made. That's right, we're talking all that video game goodness. And finally, we have Quacking Up, a storytelling podcast where we pick suggestions from a hat and tell stories based upon them. Once again, thank you so much for listening. Please check out our social media, all links in the description. And with that, we'll see you on the next one.